Time for another Sunday morning breakdown and expert analysis by me on the Prime card. I didn't watch the whole thing. I watched the Swarms fight with Ed Matthews where he got absolutely flatlined in 30 seconds. I watched the first round of the tag team, which is just bad. Them tag team things, I can't get behind the whole thing. If we're honest with ourselves, the whole thing's awful, innit? Start to finish, the whole thing is bad. The quality of boxing is shocking. But you can say it's shocking and still enjoy it a little bit. I think the watch along definitely helps enjoy it because it is like insanely bad in it. The quality is shocking. I feel like the Dean the Great fight versus, was he called Wallin? That was a good fight, and the Salt Pappy fight was like, they're not good fights in terms of like, if you're I'm not a boxing purist, I wouldn't say, but in terms of like enjoying boxing, they're not good fights. You wouldn't, if you watch that on a matchroom card or a top rank card, you wouldn't say it was a good fight, but for that it's a good fight. And when you're littered with all these shocking like hold fests, they stand out as good fights, but they're not good fights. But the Salt Pappy one was alright. The Salt Pappy lost me money as well, and he was fucking dominating him up until that point. But yeah, got flatlined, but I'm guessing like a lot of people are not really interested in the Salt Pappy fight. And then there was that was the one before the main two, wasn't it? Salt Pappy. So I watched Dean the Great. Oh no, and I watched Anthony Taylor. I seen Anthony Taylor. So Anthony Taylor won. He had crazy long odds, you know. He was like 2.3 or something, 2.4, I can't remember what he was. But in these celebrity fights, if there's any influencer or celebrity going against an MMA fighter or a boxer or like someone who's got a bit of combat experience, they will win. So I couldn't believe the other guy was the favourite when he is. I know they were saying like for an influencer he's quite good, but he was just an influencer. Whereas that, what's he called? Anthony Taylor has boxed a little bit before, even though he's obviously really bad. He has boxed a little bit before. And then obviously you had the two last fights. Like them two last fights in a row are probably two of the worst fights I've ever seen, ever. But you look at the 6 rounders and then again, it went dead late, didn't it? 20 past 12, the card's finishing. Like, how are 6 rounders going? Were they the two longest fights, 6 rounds? So they were all 5 rounders. How is a card full of 5 and 6 rounders going that long? Like, they fill too much shite in the middle. But I guess that is the whole point. That is what you have to do, because they have to fill out the cards with enough like Bugsy Malone and Chris Eubank Jr. and music and kicking off and interviews and celebrities, and they have to do that enough to take your mind away from how bad the product is, like how really, really, really bad the boxing is, because it is bad. It is really, really bad. Like the Logan Paul Dillon Danis fight was shocking. Neither are good. Like Danis was, for all the talk and that, was shocking. Obviously, he didn't turn up with a team, hasn't really been training, went out the night before, so you can't really say he took it really serious. He's just turned up and got a lot of money. Although he got DQ'd in the end, and I'm sure there's a DQ clause in his contract where he doesn't get paid. How embarrassing was that for him? Like, if he'd have just lost, did the little high guard, he would have said, "Mate, you're supposed to knock me out." Like, I don't. Even though he's claiming the real fight, he's like, he could have said, "You've been boxing for years. I don't box. I turned up with a better team." Blah blah blah. But then he goes, and the things he's trying to do, which have now made him look like a fucking idiot, and have now given Logan Paul things to laugh at him about. Was he ever going to put so? Maybe he shot for a takedown, should have probably completed the takedown, even though he's got gloves on so he can't get the grips around the back and everything. Logan Paul's a big guy, so I know he was tired and wasn't expecting it, and you should be able to get him down there, but like Dillon Danis is jiu-jitsu as well, which isn't like he's not the best for actually getting takedowns, is it? Like learning takedowns, does that make sense? Like jiu-jitsu is a bit different from actual standing 2-leg takedowns and stuff like that. So he's got gloves on, they're both slippy. Logan Paul's twice his size, so he's just embarrassed himself trying to take him down. And then the guillotine, the reason why Nate Diaz was smart, he didn't jump for it. How are you going to jump for a standing guillotine, and obviously try and get him down with the guillotine when you've got boxing gloves on so you can't close your grip properly? You're in the 6th round of a very sweaty fight against someone like twice his size, so obviously that was never going to come off. So now he just looks like a fucking idiot. Obviously he looked like an idiot anyway because he did nothing. He landed about what? Did he even throw double-digit punches or land double-digit punches? Like, he was awful. I thought, he's tiring him out, like he's just going to do the high guard. You know, the fucking Anthony Crawler, Joe Gallagher, like Joe Murray, that sort of thing where they just high guard, tire him out for half the fight, and then when they're knackered, then you come on strong. And I was thinking, I'm giving him credit, saying, this is what he's doing. I think he's just doing a high guard. He's trying to tire him out, and he just wasn't doing that. He's just just really isn't good at boxing, is he? Like, he's really bad at boxing. When he did throw his punches, he was swinging and missing. Like, he's just not good at boxing. But neither was Logan Paul. Like, Logan Paul should be getting... Dillon Danis is really bad. He could unload on him at all times. Obviously, I don't know if he was confident about his gas tank, but like, if you're any good at boxing, you should be getting Dillon Danis out there. Jake Paul would get Dillon Danis out in 2 rounds. Like, and he is not any good at boxing. He's just okay at boxing. It was like insanely bad. The quality's awful. That's the thing, though, isn't it? How that fight ends is how that fight has to end for it to work. It has to end with everyone in the ring fighting and Dillon Danis doing stupid things and it getting DQ'd and Logan Paul kicking off, because then for the audience that they're catering to, they forget how bad the fight was. Even if I don't even know if they even realise how bad the fight was. Like, the influencer crowd and that, the people who like this content, and there's loads of them, you can't knock it, you can't knock them. They're not fighting in a half-empty arena. The AO arena was full, and Manchester Arena was full from the first fight. Like, when I turned it on for the Swans fight, it wasn't like full, but it was busy. Like, there was it was pretty much full, yeah, from that early. So they have got a massive market for it. I don't know if they're boxing fans and if they know how bad a fight that is, but for the boxing fans that tune in, like me and obviously the other people, a lot of people in the watch along, we're watching it just thinking like this is really bad. Like, really, 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 really bad. Like the worst level professional fight you would ever watch. I know they're not professional fights. And it's just shocking. And Danis, like, he did nothing, but could have, like I said, he could have got away with like the blag of it's not a proper fight, you know, the whole McGregor bit. But then he did went for the 2 like sort of wrestling / jiu-jitsu / grappling things and failed on both. Like, he just I feel like he went in there with already made excuses and kind of like a no-lose thing. Not really no-lose, but not really finish himself and embarrass himself, and he has just embarrassed himself. Like, he'll probably get another Misfits fight because he's a big-ish name now, I suppose. Like, I don't think anybody in MMA or boxing actually care about him, but all the influencer crowd do. Look at his socials. That Jedi Goodman on Twitter said he was on 300 and something thousand followers 6 weeks ago, and now he's on like 1.1 mil or 1 mil. And Instagram, he was on like 1.4 mil, and now he's on like 3.4 mil. Like, so he's got what he wants out of it. Obviously, he's going to get sued to the high heaven by that Nina, and he, like, America, you know what America's like for suing. Like, he's going to get fucked in that, especially because of how easily provable that it is harassment. Like, it blatantly is harassment. He has harassed her. Don't know how it's going to like play out in court. I don't really know like the letter of the law and stuff like that. But he's going to get sued, and he's going to have to pay up a lot of money. I don't know how much money he's been paid for this fight. But yeah, the takeaway from that is it was just really bad. Like, the fight was really bad. It's literally hard to watch. Like, when it starts getting to round 3 and 4, and they're already sloppy in round 1 and 2, but then they're tired now, and they're just literally hugging and holding, and the refs are shit, so they don't really know what to do, and they're constantly breaking it up. It's just really hard to watch. And then so you watch that. Logan Paul, what was he up? I think he was up on all 5 judges' scorecard going into the 6th round. The DQ happens, you get the whole melee, so that's back in the news now, and he can call him a bitch and all that, and it's just like, okay, so that happened. And then the main event, right? So KSI, Tommy Fury wins, done he, by majority decision. We had the first draw. I don't understand how you get that out of 57-57 when someone loses a point in their 6th rounder, but if anyone can put that in the comments and work that out for me, I'd have to see someone has posted the scorecard actually in that UFC group, but I've not actually properly looked at it. And then 57-56, so that's 4-2 with the knockdowns, making it 4-3 on the other 2. Which I think, I thought he won I thought he lost the first 2 rounds. Lost the first definitely. Lost the second because of the pointer taken down, not the knockdown, so the point taken down for hitting in the back of the head, and he did hit him on the back of the head twice. And then I thought he won the last 4 rounds, but he didn't win. He won enough to say that he was the winner. But it wasn't a convincing win in terms of, like, he didn't dominate him, he didn't nearly stop him, he didn't really hurt him. KSI's fighting like fucking MVP fights, like in a point scoring sort of like, like in and out style with his arms down. Like, I don't know why. As KSI, if he watches boxing or watches MMA, there's never been a successful world champion in either sport that fights like that. So I don't know why he's like trying to think he's reinventing the wheel and fighting like that, like some fucking idiot YouTuber knows more than MMA fighters and boxers how to actually have a correct stance for the sport. Like, what, that is not a good stance for boxing. Fury could not miss with the left hand, jumping in with the left hand. But the only problem is Fury's that bad that when every time he jumped in with that left jab, he falls in with it and smothers his work and ends up holding with him. And you just think, give yourself a bit of separation, a bit of distance. Bear in mind, Fury's got that fucking crazy long reach. He's got to be the worst boxer ever who says he's been boxing since a kid, he must have took years off. He has to have taken years off to be to become the Love Island little influencer guy. He has to have taken years out of the gym because he hasn't got the fundamentals and the just the basics of boxing for someone who's been in the gym since he was 7 years old. It's impossible. There's people, there's genuine journeymen who you'd worry about putting Tommy Fury in with. Do you know, like he said, I'm done with all this influencer bullshit. I'm going to go and win some titles and that. If he went and did normal boxing, luckily he's beat these two, so the appetite for watching him beat fat and small, undersized or really fat people. You'd probably get away with it a bit longer if Frank Warren started doing Tommy Fury cards. You'd probably get away with watching him beat these people a lot longer, and Frank Warren can fucking sell anything, kind of. So the only problem is Eddie Hearn is against him. I said in the watch along, watch Eddie Hearn will come out and terrorise him for this, and he has already done a couple of videos terrorising him. So Frank would struggle to sell it, only because Eddie Hearn's got a bigger platform and voice, and he will debunk anything he says. Every time he fights against some shithead, wins, and it looks awful, and Frank Warren's like, oh, we're building him, Eddie Hearn will come out and just like put it in the minds of everybody how actually bad it was. So, but would you trust him to win it? Would you think, even in the right guidance, even with 10 warm-up fights, do you think he'd win an English title? I don't think he'd win an English title. He is awful. That KSI should just be like, listen, like, I know he's shouting robbery and the appeal and all that, and it's just embarrassing, but he lost 4-2 to a person who's been boxing all his life, and he can't box, has the worst stance ever, doesn't take it seriously, blatantly only probably trains 2 months before a fight. He's not training all year round. Whereas Tommy Fury looks like he's in the gym all year round. Like, I know he has a lot of like influencer holidays and stuff with fucking Molly and that, but I think he's in the gym, say, 8 months of the 12, whereas KSI's probably in the gym 4 months a year, if that. He's so bad. Like, he doesn't, I don't think, if you go and watch every one of KSI's fights, every single fight he's had, I know they're all exhibition, but he's one little pro fight, all the Logan Paul, every fight he's had, I don't think he's through 10 jabs. If someone wants to go back and watch them, count the jabs, he won't have thrown 10 jabs in all of his fights. I don't think he threw a single jab last night. I don't think he knows how to jab. He just throws the right hand. He just looks, tries to throw a big right hand, tries to time a big right hand, sometimes lands, sometimes misses, but because of the stance, because of the weird little stances in the little MVP stance, he doesn't get power on his punches because he's not sat down on them, he's bouncing, so even when he lands the right hand, they don't hurt. It was just a shocking fight. The reason why, I said this on Twitter last night, and I said it on the watch along, the reason why these fights are so bad, and the reason why you can kind of get a decent-ish fight lower down, is because at the top end of the card, when you've got the massive build-up, Dillon, Danis, Logan Paul, how much anger's been in the build-up, how raw it is between them two, and then the same with KSI and Tommy Fury, all four men are afraid to lose, and if you're afraid to lose, you fight reserved. You don't sit down on your punches, you don't take risks. Like Tommy Fury, if you got to think, if he takes a little bit of a risk against KSI, he will stop KSI. KSI is really bad. I know Tommy Fury is not much better for a boxer who's boxed at like all that time, but like KSI is insanely bad. Like Logan Paul's really bad, really, really bad. Dillon Danis is really, really bad. But KSI is supposed to be just a little bit above them, and he's supposed to be a bit more of a serious influence. They're supposed to be like, they do other things, they're not really into it, they're just doing it, and he's supposed to be actually in the boxing thing, and he's so bad. Like, these people, I know that it's like tongue-in-cheek when they call like people like Canelo and that, and I know when someone said he fight Berta, he was like, are you mad? Like, I value my life, which is like quite funny and fair enough, but they're so bad. And Tommy Fury, the fact that he's gone to points with Jake Paul and KSI is embarrassing. This KSI one's even worse. Like, it's even more embarrassing. It's awful. It's just hard to get get into how bad, like to stress how bad this is. But that's not. I don't think. Like I said, I don't think the people there are asked about the fight. I think they're asked. It's like when I used to watch wrestling back in the day with my sister. My sister was never asked about the matches. She just wanted to watch all the backstage stuff, the arguments, the fights, the drama, and that. And I think that's what a lot of the influencer fans are into. They're into the outside stuff, the drama, the build-up, the stuff that happens after the fight, the stuff that happens in between the fights. Like, I don't think they're actually asked about the fights. And fair enough, I guess, that's the market, that's the market you're going for. But when I watch them, I only ever get dragged into the big ones. So I've watched Paul Woodley 1. I've watched Paul versus Tommy Fury, Paul versus Nate Diaz, and I've watched this now. And is that it? Yeah, that's it. That's the only ones I've actually sat down and watched live. Is that the only ones I've sat down and watched live? Yeah, I think that is. Yeah, it is. Because the big events dragged me in. And then it happened the first time with Woodley Paul. Like I said, I think I said, I can't remember what video I said it on, but we stayed up for it, watched UFC, and then we actually fell asleep and then woke up for that, me and my mate. And we watched it, and it was like 2-3 rounds in, and I was thinking, this is so bad. And I was thinking, and then in my head I'm going, well, obviously it's so bad. I'm watching a fucking retired wrestler-based MMA fighter against a YouTuber. Why did I think there was, like, as much as he's like to big up a good game, talk a good game, why did I think this was ever going to be good? Like, it's obviously going to be shit. And then the Diaz fight was shit. The Woodley 2 fight was like really bad. I didn't watch that live, but that was like really, really, really bad until the knockout. The Tommy Fury fight was bad. The KSI fight was bad. The Logan Paul fight was bad. Like, all these fights are always shocking because none of them can box. They're all too scared to lose to make it an interesting fight. That's why most of them go the distance. They're just bad, aren't they? They're just insanely bad. They'll probably do. I don't know. Is there an appetite for a KSI Tommy Fury rematch? Probably not. Logan Paul won't fight Dillon Danis again. Maybe Dillon Danis could fight KSI this time finally. I think KSI would probably stop Dillon Danis because I feel like KSI isn't good. Maybe a bit different with him because I do feel like he does throw punches to try and win, and he kind of risks getting punched to throw him because of how bad he is and how bad his technique is. But I don't think it's the same as being like really brave and wanting to win. But I feel like he does try to land big shots, and Dillon Danis is really bad. So I feel like KSI would probably stop Dillon Danis. Can't believe I'm talking about future fights with Dillon Danis and KSI, but yeah. It's just not great, is it? It's good entertainment. I don't mind jumping on the odd. Like, the watch along was sick. It lasted nearly 4 hours. It was busy. It was good. Like, we had a laugh in there. So I suppose if they're on and they're big enough, we can do watch along soon. But it's not. It's just not really my thing. And when you watch it, I feel like you get dragged into it all week. It's everywhere. It's all over Twitter. It's all on the news. It's all on YouTube. And you can't help but get like dragged in, and you can't help but get like into it, and you think, yeah, look, we'll watch this weekend, and then it comes on, and straight away you just think, I should have known this was going to be shit. I'm not like, it's not that bad. It is that bad where I would never watch the other one. So they've got that other one in York Hall in a couple of weeks or whatever it is. I would never watch that, or the one in Newcastle the other week when it was at Idris Virgo versus Aaron Chalmers. You're not catching me ever sitting down and watching that. And I think like the fact that when they're sometimes in a half empty arena like the Newcastle one was, and the crowd are not really into it, and the atmosphere is not there. The atmosphere, I'm a bit of like a slut for like atmospheres, and I hate the word, but limbs, and do you know what I mean? So like, or libs, whatever it's called. So I'm like, limbs, it's obviously limbs. So when the atmosphere is good in the Manchester Arena, and the crowd are getting into the fights, and it's like, not high action, but people are getting punched and that, and every time someone lands, the crowd go off. I get sucked into that. So that's why I think the smaller cards, I'm just not interested in them, because it's not only is it bad boxing with bad influencers and celebrities, the crowd are not even into it. It's not like, so I'll always get into the big influencer boxing events, I think. I'm slowly coming over to that, but I'm definitely not, I've not been won over by the quality of the boxing, and I definitely wouldn't watch smaller cards. But yeah, it was alright, decent little night, the watch along was good, but that's it. This is my little after the thing review. It's been 18 minutes, I wanted to go 15, that's why I keep checking the time. I've got another watch along tonight. I asked people in the chat I've got a live chat tonight. I asked people in the watch along yesterday to ask me questions, and now it takes 24 hours for the live chat thing to come back up, and I didn't write the questions down last night because I just wanted to go to bed afterwards. So I'm waiting for the chat to come back so I can get the live chat questions for tonight. But 8:30 live chat tonight. Everyone fucking come and watch it. And everyone watched last week's live chat as well, you little bastards. It's on like 900 and fucking something views, and they all need to be over 1,000, them live chats, because they're my favourite things to do. So yeah, that's me done. See you later. Bye.